What's up, guys? Everyone keeps asking this question. With today's prices, interest rates, and rent costs, is buying a home still actually worth it? Let's talk about it, guys. Today is Teach Me Tuesday, as you all already know, and I got the team with me, and we're gonna jump right into this topic, guys. So let's just start it off. LaShawn, I know how you like to roll. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take care of that.
All right, let's talk about it, right? So, why so many people are questioning whether home ownership is still worth it? I know I get asked that question a lot, especially here in our market down in the low country. We are seeing a lot more, I just hate to say it, like people getting priced out.
Mm,
I pre-approve, Gavin and I pre-approve a lot of people. And
mm,
right now they're getting pre-approved for really under 300,000. And so in our market here in the low country, trying to find a house under 300,000 is very challenging. It's very difficult to really secure something that's turnkey, not super old, doesn't need a lot of updates and repairs. So it kind of draws a lot of people in to kind of question, like, is home ownership still worth it? Like,
mm,
even at a $300,000, mortgage, like my payment is like 2,200. Like the days of
mm.
a 11 and $1,000 payment, like that doesn't exist. Like, okay, I can probably still find a rental for that, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
should I do it? Like, what do you guys think? Are y'all hearing the same thing?
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
see
think
her.
it's just, I think it's a struggle out there right now for a lot of people. I mean, trying to figure out what's best for their finances, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
are you in a short term situation, lifestyle to where you're somewhere temporarily, or your job is not stable. It could you could be let go, any day, or you can, job stability just isn't there. A lot of that plays a factor into whether you should truly buy or rent. And I think there's a lot of people out there that struggle with that, especially with how the economy is right now, the shakiness of, especially if you're like in a government position or something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe, you don't know, when, I guess right now we're in a government shutdown. I know, like with TSA, let's say you're a TSA employee, man, you're not getting a check right now. So
Right,
is right
right,
now a good time for you to buy per se? Probably not, because you don't know that I mean, in your mind, yes, at some point things should go back to normal and actually, start receiving paychecks, or get back pay, whatever it may be. But I think it's situational. So people got to take all things into account, for their financial situation, to see if it's the right time for them to buy, or as opposed to renting temporarily until they put themselves in a position, that has more stability.
That's a good point, Wilma. Like, what do you think? I would love to get your perspective on that. I mean, I know Orangeburg is a little bit of a different market than it is here, in the Charleston in the Low Country. But at the same time, I feel like Orangeburg is coming up. I mean, even though you might can find something, still in the anywhere between the 150, the twos, still in Orangeburg, but I think that that's still becoming a little bit far few between. I think Orangeburg is like developing rather quickly right now, and I don't
right,
think that's going to be the case for long.
right, right. I it's amazing. I'm just listening to the dynamic down there in the some of the low country area where, people are getting approved under 300. Down here, it's a similar situation, but people are getting approved under 200. Okay.
Mhm.
So where what you could find here, like I was like, man, send them my way. Send them to Orangeburg. I can find them something under 300. We can get them something turnkey, ready to go, new construction. We got it all here in Orangeburg. But still, it's that that economic dynamic where, the incomes are higher down there and incomes are lower down here. That's why the price points are lower in our area. And like just I want to hit on what Gavin said. I'm in full agreement with what Gavin said. It depends on your situation. And yes, I'm a realtor, and I'm saying, hey, it might be a situation where you might have to rent for a period of time. I
Right.
remember I had a situation one time with a client, and it was a credit situation. I told him, I said, hey, it might be some time. Let's take some time to repair what needs to be repaired on the credit so that, hey, you'll be qualified so that you can get all of the benefits of a higher credit score and maybe qualify for down payment assistance and qualify for all the, maybe potential lower interest rates. Just depends on your situation. And there are different situations that fit, different people. And I
Yeah.
just think it depends on someone's, like you said, Gavin's financial situation. It can even be relational. I don't go there. It can be relational. It can be uh dealing with your occupation.
Yeah.
Like he said, TSA, or you don't know if this job is temporary or not. Might be planning to move somewhere else that has a better job market for you. So
All right.
yeah.
That's such a good point. That's a good point. I'm going to jump around just a little bit, just because we got some really good kind of like, some really good thought provoking questions to kind of put out here to the audience, right? So
Right.
when we think about the value, right, what makes home ownership still valuable today?
Mm-hmm.
I want each of us to kind of maybe like really think about that, and then we can kind of share our thoughts on what we think. And I'll kind of start. To me, when it comes to like what makes home ownership still value today, I would definitely still say it's the wealth building opportunity. Even though things are more expensive, and even though it may be a little bit more of a sacrifice to buy a house than it may have been in the past, I feel like the benefit of home ownership is still the same. It
Mm-hmm.
still will, you still will yield a return on your investment at some point. It may take a little longer, or like I said, it may come with a bit of a sacrifice, or may take a little bit more elbow grease to make it work, but it still will yield a return. I
Right.
don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Av?
I mean, I think, yeah, I think just in regards to the value is that stability and security. I mean, when you purchase a home, you kind of know what your monthly cost is going to be, because in most
Mhm.
cases your rate is going to be fixed, your interest rate and your payment is going to be fixed,
That's a good point.
unless something changes in regards to your homeowner's insurance or something of that sort. But sometimes when you're renting, of course, depending, especially if it's like a new location, new place or something, you may get that first year rate that's a lot cheaper than second, third year, or whatever. So you have to worry about that rent rising, as opposed to the stability of knowing how much your payment's going to be each month through home ownership, and having that valuing, knowing what your payment's going to be year in and year out.
That's a good point. What about you, Wima? What do you think makes home ownership still valuable today?
And so there's the financial benefit, but I always like to think about the things that, like, when it comes to like family and a peace of mind and stability, things like that, setting roots down, um, being a part of a community
Mm,
and being invested. you know I start thinking about those other intangibles. When your kids come to their house, you know it's different. It hits different, because they
Mhm.
know that this is my home, this is where I live. We're not jumping from place to place, and I get it. There's certain scenarios where parents might have to do that, and I get it. But just for them to have that sense of stability at home, where they can call a place their home, I feel like that I don't know if you can put a price on that.
mm,
And that's where I come from. One of the things I love to see, guys, and I almost get emotional thinking about it, is I remember having a client, and we were doing our final walkthrough, and the dad was in the kitchen with me. He told the kids, go outside, play on the playground, that's yours now. They were running to it. And that moment, you know they were like, man, this is ours. This is our
mm.
piece of land, this is our piece of property.
Right.
So it's just something that goes with that, man. I know some people are like, man, what financial benefit that is. It's probably not a financial benefit to that, but it's an emotional benefit to that. So yeah.
Mm.
Oh, love that, love that, love that, love. I agree with that, Janisha. This is powerful. That is good. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So let's switch gears just a tad. So when it comes to the renting versus buying, is home ownership still worth it? So what let's talk about, like, based on interest rate, right? Interest
Uh,
rates have kind of been all over the place. They, were high and then they went down and now they're going back up with all the war and the things that's going on with the government shutdown is causing a lot of volatility in the market. So rates are going up. So even though rates are a little bit higher, they still historically lower than what they have been in the past. But even though rates are not, your 2 and 3 or even 4% anymore, is it still worth it, right? Is it still worth it to pursue home ownership when the rates are not, as low as they used to be? Because
uh,
the old saying used to be, it's cheaper to buy a house, using my air quotes, it's cheaper to buy a house. And it's like,
not
necessarily,
necessarily.
it's not cheaper to buy
Right.
a house initially anymore. Over time, it will save you
Right.
money, but it's not cheaper to buy a house versus renting. So what do you
Mhm.
guys think? Even with the current rate market, Gavin, do you feel like it's still, I'm pro home ownership?
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you can afford it and you're in a financial situation, you're stable enough. Absolutely, home ownership makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Because either you're going to pay, the 5 and 6% rate today that you think is considerably high, or whatever your thought process is behind the whole interest rate, or you can rent and you can pay 100% interest rate um, to someone else to pay their mortgage and build equity in their the property that they own. So I mean, when it's dry and clear cut that way, when it's in black and white, I can pay 5 or 6% interest rate on something that I own and that I'm building equity in, or I can pay 100% interest that I don't get any return back other than
Mm,
just a roof over my head, monthly, um, and I'm not building any equity or wealth for myself. Um, it makes all the sense in the world to me that home ownership is definitely always still going to be the goal and the key. But again, like we've been saying, if it fits your situation, if you're building credit to be able to qualify, then no, short term rental may be better for you. But if you know that you're going to be deployed, or you're only here temporarily, it may not make the best sense in the world to buy a home in an area where you're not going to be, especially if you're buying a home for yourself and not as an investment opportunity or something of that sort. So that's my take on
That's
it.
a good point. That's a good point. So what would if you were speaking with, someone, one of your clients, or maybe I know you talk to so many people, what should someone ask themselves when they're deciding to rent versus buy? If a person was kind of, right now in today's, given economy, today's given market, if they were really trying to decide, like, is it better for me to rent right now, or is it better for me to pursue home ownership? How would you, have that conversation, or what advice or tips would you may give them to kind of help them make that decision?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I will dig a little deeper with them. You know, I believe that you need to definitely do a self check and
Mm,
say, hey, is this a place that I see myself being long term? You know,
mhm,
all right. Also, do I see myself? Am I, stable right here with my current job? I like my job. I love the area or whatever. Why not invest in it? You know what I'm saying? I do feel like this, and I'm gonna speak to this crowd out there that's probably thinking this way because I've heard an argument and I thought it was a good point. It was two guys arguing about home ownership and renting. One guy was like, "Man, hey, I'm developing myself. I'm investing in myself right now. I'm building something. I don't want to be tied down to a certain location. I want to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? The move, I got to move to Atlanta, Houston, New York. If that's somebody like you, I get it. Hey, go ahead and do what you got to do to be flexible to maximize or invest in yourself. But if that's not you, why not invest in an asset that will appreciate over time if you feel like this is where you're going to be, and that way you can make sure you have something of value later on down the road if you decide to move couple years down the road, 5, 10 years down the road, hey, I can still move, I can still be flexible, but now I got equity in a property that I can possibly put in my pocket once I sell my property. So
Oh,
yeah,
I love it. I
Mm.
love it. Guys, that is our time for today. I feel like these 15 minutes go by
they
so
gone,
fast.
they be gone. Yeah,
Goes by so fast. But I would like to say before we wrap up for today, on this topic, like homeownership can still, be an option for you. I think, like you said it best, Wilmot, you have to kind of go in and evaluate what makes sense for you. You have to think about your budget, your long
yeah,
term goals, and you got to think about your lifestyle and see, how does that fit in. I think everybody should own a home in their lifetime. The question is just going to be, when is the right time for you to take that step to make home ownership your reality. So, guys, until next time, next week, we thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys have a great week.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Oh, yeah, let's give a plug. I forgot about that. Yeah. So, if y'all are not doing anything tonight at 7 p.m.,
mm, right.
please join us via Zoom.
Right.
Definitely message, DM us. We'll send you the Zoom link. We are doing a quick little first time home buyer strategies because of these high rates and high prices. People may have some questions. I want to know, what's a great strategy that they can take advantage of so that they truly can make home ownership a reality for
Right.
them in the future. So definitely reach out to any one of us. We'll make sure you get that Zoom link. That's going to be tonight at 7 p.m. via Zoom. So you can log in and we can, talk through some different stuff and we can see how we can help you buy a house in the future.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right.